Management confirmed pay increases are no longer based on merit. I lost all motivation. I was burned out before this. The review period before I went above and beyond for 4% raise that was really a pay cut with inflation. Still, I've gotten good to excellent performance reviews across the board. But now that they confirmed merit has no bearing on pay, I can barely bring myself to do the bare minimum. I haven't checked my email in a month. I'm stuck going between apathy and anxiety over my poor performance. My manager wants to have a meeting to discuss my decreased work quality, but what's the point? Bad work pays the same as excellent. I'm anxious about losing my job. Almost 5 years in this position. But I think it would hurt them more than me. I never wanted this to be my career, and it would push me to make a change. The office has been chronically understaffed practically since I was hired, and they would likely have to start a replacement at more than what I make now. Thought that's a small comfort. This is more of an outlet for my anxiety and frustration than anything. But I would to hear advice, anecdotes or commiseration if you have any. Peter Gibbons. The thing is, Bob, it's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care. Bob Porter. Don't care? Peter Gibbons. It's a problem of motivation. Alright, now if I work my ass off and Initech ships a few extra units, I don't see another dime. So where's the motivation? And here's something else. Bob. I have 8 different bosses right now. Bob Slidell. I beg your pardon? Peter Gibbons. 8 bosses. Bob Slidell. 8. Peter Gibbons. 8. Bob. So that means that when I make a mistake, I have 8 different people coming by to tell me about it. That's my only real motivation, is not to be hassled. That and the fear of losing my job. But you know, Bob, that will only make someone work just hard enough not to get fired. This is the result of bad economic theories. The idea is that labor has no value. It's an expense. The economic activity which increases the profit at the expense of labor is seen as positive GDP growth. There is no prevailing mainstream calculation for labor's losses. That number appears in income inequality. This chart clearly shows what's happening. Labor has no value in the current system. They are trying to devalue labor to the point of permanent contracts. You incorporate yourself. The business pays that company, then you pay yourself. Voila. Any labor violations or protections are the responsibility of your company, not them. Welcome to the new world. Yup. My old company stopped doing annual reviews for pay. They just did a yearly pay increase anywhere from 2% to 4%. What's the point? I'm in a similar position. The last round of pay rises were 5% if you're performing well. Most people. And 5.5% if you're a top performer. Rare. I was in the performing well group, but I just thought, what's the point in busting your guts going above and beyond to achieve top performer, which is super difficult to get when you only get a tiny bit extra? That was the day I decided not to bother and just do the bare minimum. I'm with others. Tell them exactly how you feel. If you want change, look into other fields. It's easier to find a job when you already have one. I would start looking now. So get this. My raises are based on merit, but A. My quota is the same as people with routinely double or more sale sizes. B. Management adjusted my rotation so I'm only working tiny deals. C. They straight up admitted they're putting their finger on the scale for preferred reps they're looking to promote. It's a toxic place, who cares? Be honest, I have no incentive to perform outside of minimum requirements because I'll get paid the same either way. End of discussion. Work your wage. This is why workers have unions, to protect against employer abuse. The pay increases were never based on merit. Now they're just honest about it. When someone tells you who they are, listen. If you really feel that way, it's time to polish up your resume and start looking for other gigs that will pay you what you think you deserve. In my industry, raises haven't been based on merit my whole career. Since the mid-90s, merit might be used for promotions, except nobody promotes in-house anymore. You have to quit and go somewhere else for a real raise and/or promotion. Our division gets a bucket for raises which gets split among organizations and so on, and then everyone just gets whatever there is divided amongst everyone. It sucks. Merit raises are not motivational. If your raise is based on a Likert scale of 15 and the person getting a 5 gets a 4.0 raise, how hard is someone that's a 3 getting 3.2% going to work for that extra 0.8%? Not very. If you're making $16.00 an hour, the difference is 0.51 vs 0.64, or a gross improvement over 40 hours of $5.20. $40 0.13. I just had my evaluation and no pay raise at all. Nobody in our department did, even the one employee who got the 100% score on their eval. They were so pissed. Anyway, just to the 80% or minimum. Nothing is worth going above and beyond anymore. If they ask why, tell them your pay is your reward for your work. If they say you need to improve, ask for better pay. If they say no, we will fire you if you don't improve, ask for a timeline so you can make alternative arrangements. Screw it. Go full Klingon. Challenge your management to combat. Winner gets the job. Work your way up to CEO. Why should I go above and beyond when I'm being paid the same as the people whose slack I've been picking up for several years? If there's no reward for hard work, why should I bother? Quote. My question is, did they say that performance had no effect on the raise? Or are you making that determination based on only getting a 4% raise? I mean, that is corporate America. And I doubt everyone got 4%. In working for 10 years as a manager, we almost always gave out 34% pay raises. It was relatively easy to give out less than the standard. It was even easier to give the standard raise. But it took an act of God to get the big raise, which was 0.5% more. Usually, as a boss, those really were my only options, giving out the standard. Say, 3.5%. Give out a bit more. 4%. Or give nothing, and one needed documentation to give more or less than the standard. More than 2 years at a job and your resume needs to be out unless you have stock options vesting. I was in a similar situation a few years ago. Good paying but dead-end job with terrible bosses. Wound up snapping and quitting with no notice. Pushed me to find a job as an electrician, which is something I've always wanted to do. 2.5 years later, I'm making more money and 1,000 times happier. Leaving, getting fired doesn't have to be a bad thing. Edit. Spelling. Look for a new job and wait for them to fire you. They likely won't, but honestly, does it matter? Just be ready and you'll survive. But yeah, consider your time there done and just coast. Fuck that place. Edit to add. I've been in exactly the same situation and yay. Just coast.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.